Welcome to the Alumni Podcast. I'm your host, Jenifer Garcia, and joining us today is Jacinta Flores, founder of the Family Association Student Angel Program.
Yes, thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be here. I'm very grateful.
I'm excited to have you here. So what have you been up to recently?
So I've had a pretty exciting last couple of years since graduating the second time from Texas A&M San Antonio. The first time I graduated was in 2015. I graduated with my undergraduate degree in accounting, and then later on I graduated in 2019 with my master's. And coming to Texas A&M San Antonio was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It really has set me on the path to success, and I've had a great time here. I've learned a lot. I've met a lot of great people. A lot of good opportunities have come of it. When I first graduated in 2015, I was actually working as an accounting assistant for a local manufacturer called FBD. And a couple of years prior to that, I had kind of asked if I wanted to move up in the department and gain more responsibilities. And they had said that, well, in order to move up in the department and in the company, you needed an undergraduate degree at least. So that was my motivation for returning back to college for a higher education. And then after I graduated in 2015 the first time, I was promoted to a financial analyst position for the executive department in that company. And then later on, I moved to an cost accounting position there. While I worked there, I learned a lot about business. I learned about intercompany transactions. I learned about budgeting, financial statements, operations and inventory, quality. I even had several opportunities to travel around the country. I even traveled to Asia twice. So I've been to Shenzhen, China, and to Hong Kong twice in my career, and so I met a lot of great people and had a really fun time learning and gaining experience and knowledge in the accounting field. And I owe a lot of that to some of the mentors that took me under their wing while I was there, and so I'm really grateful to have had that opportunity to work there. And then I came back to Temusa in the January of 2018. And I graduated in December of 2019 with my master's degree in accounting. And I was in the last graduating class before COVID. That was something to brag about.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it was, I remember it was really fun. And then I felt really bad for the students that really didn't get that full opportunity in that moment for the next couple of years. And I did universities, and all the universities everywhere did what they could. But when I was an undergraduate student, I actually took my classes at the Brooks city-based campus.
Right.
So we didn't have any fancy buildings. We had an old military base where we took our classes. And I remember one night I had to bring my young son with me to class. I didn't have a sitter lined up, and I was kind of nervous about bringing him. And my initial plan was to leave him in the hallway, and I would sit inside, and I could have line of sight to him.
Right.
But he was 10 years old, and I said, no, I'm going to bring him in. I took the chance of bringing him in. If I had to leave with him, then I would. So I brought him in. We kind of sat off to the side where you couldn't really see him. I didn't think you could really see him. But my instructor at the time, Dr. Gilbert Barrera, he was our tax instructor. So he taught all of the really hard tax courses. And he was known for being really tough. He's a very serious professor. He's had a outstanding career as a lawyer and a CPA. And he's very forward in his teachings, and I was a little nervous about having my son in there, but Dr. Barrera actually saw him in the beginning of class, and this really strong instructor saw him and immediately warmed up to him and was like, well, I didn't know we had a new student today, and I'm so glad that they finally hired somebody for me. And so that I was really grateful for that experience, and that's kind of the trend that, you know, we had throughout my college career. Everybody was really welcoming and having a sense of community here, so I've always loved that about Temusa. And that 10-year-old little boy today is in college. So I would like to say that was his first college experience, and it was a very positive experience for him. So
that's great.
Yeah,
that's that's really amazing. The way the professor warmed up to your son, I think that really represents the Temusa community.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, even there's a lot to say about the professors that in master's courses too. Dr. Dennis Elam and Dr. Richard Green, those two guys are amazing in their fields. I've always appreciated that they understood students and non-traditional students. Just to preface this, I was an evening student the entire time. I worked 40 hours a week, and I came to class at night 2 to 3 times a week. And these professors knew that students that came at night, they were there and not home with their families. So they took our time seriously, and they taught us things that we really needed to know for the workforce. They prepped us for audits. They prepped us for financial presentations. Almost every one of my graduate courses, we had a presentation to do. And in real life, I've done a lot of presentations, and I'm really glad that they put me in front, you know, and people, and made me talk about my work, and it made me comfortable when I got to that part, you know, in my career where I had to talk and give presentations. So that was really, really a great experience.
Yeah, I actually have met Dr. Green. He's a really funny person.
He's great. He's got a good sense of humor. Yeah.
Yep.
He's now the department chair, I think, yeah?
Yes, he is.
That was a great choice, great choice.
Now, you mentioned that as you were graduating, there was a bit of a family overlap at Temusa. Your daughter was actually starting here.
So yes, there was a semester where I overlapped with my daughter. So she graduated high school in 2019, and she immediately started college in the fall of 2019, and I graduated from here in December of 2019. So we did have one semester where we overlapped, and it was actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
We got to drive to and from campus, and she was actually no stranger to Texas A&M San Antonio. So while she was in high school, I was still getting my master's degree. So I would pick her up from school, and she would come with me to campus, and she would sit in the study rooms and do her homework. She would sit in the cafeteria and wait for me until I got out of class. And so she was already familiar with the campus by the time she started. So in her JAGX class, she was able to help other students, tell them where to go and what to do. So she's pretty great like that.
Yeah, I actually had a similar experience, but with my sister. She was doing her master's recently, and when I started as a freshman, we overlapped for one semester, and we would study together, and I was also familiar with the campus already because she would take me to events.
Yep.
Similar.
Yep. It's a family-oriented campus. That's what I love about it here.
Yeah, yep. And I already knew some people on campus.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
So, and during that, when she started, there was a program that was offered to families of students and new incoming students, and it was called the Family First Seminar. And so this was an 8-week course offered to families of students. And when you came to the seminar, it was an 8-week course. So every week we would come in person, and there was a different topic every week. So one week UPD came, and they talked about all of the services that they offered, like the victim assistance services, UPD, at the time it was Oakley. R.I.P. Oakley. and there was just a ton of resources. And the next week, somebody from the financial aid office would come, and they would talk to us about how financial aid is determined, deadlines, paperwork that we need to get in, and how to keep your financial aid status for your student too, which was equally as important, because once you get it, you have to maintain it with grades and paperwork. So that whole Family First seminar was really beneficial because as a student, I didn't realize how much I didn't know about the campus. And, it was really eye-opening. And so at the end of that 8-week course, parents graduated. We had a little mini graduation, and our students actually received a free laptop, a free Google Chrome laptop for completing the course. So that was definitely my motivation for coming. But out of that, I met Dr. Reba Sims. And at the time, she was the assistant director of the Family Engagement Office. And after the Family First seminar was over, she asked, if anybody was interested in keeping the momentum going and starting a family association on campus. And yes, my answer was yes right away. I volunteered. A few short months later, the Family Association was born. We got to have one meeting in person before COVID hit. And from then on there, to this day, we still do Zoom meetings when we gather. Yep. And we have, the Family Association is really meant to help families transition to college life. A lot of the students are first-generation students, and so their families are really not familiar with college life, and it's not all what you see in movies, right? It's much more organized, and there's a lot more to it, and so we help families feel comfortable sending their students to campus. Many of them are, residents, students that originally come from different parts of Texas, different parts of the country, coming to school here, and so they also have a lot of questions leading up to school, and we help them, we guide them, we meet with them, we have events throughout the year to keep them involved in their students' activities. We firmly believe that staying connected to your student and the university will dramatically increase your students' success rate at college.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Yeah, so everyone's journey is different, especially if you're a traditional student, non-traditional student, transfer even. And you were a first-generation student.
I am, yes, first-generation student, yeah.
How was your journey?
My journey was not as easy. I needed a lot of convincing to actually come back to college. My husband really pushed me to come back to school. So I had graduated high school, won't say what year, but I took a little break to raise my young family. And then, yes, he really pushed me and to go back to community college. So I graduated from SAC actually in 2012. 2012. I graduated from SAC in 2012. So one of the major programs that we have coming out of the Family Association is called the Student Angel Program. And so that program we've been running for 5 years. It started in December of 2020. And so a couple of months before, we had noticed in the midst of COVID, a lot of students were losing their financial support from home. Their families were getting laid off, they were not working due to sickness. And we knew that Christmas that year was going to look different for them. And we really wanted our students to stay motivated. It was a time when nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what was really going to happen. And so I came up with the Student Angel Program. And so what this program is that if a student needs something, they can submit their wish list to us. And we go out and we find sponsors for them. I have a small army of elves that help me every year. And God bless them. They help us look for sponsors. We organize the presents. We have wrapping parties where we have, we have a bunch of volunteers come in and they help us wrap gifts. So we've had the Student Angel Program for about 5 years now. The first year we were able to help 34 students. The second year we helped about 54 students. The third year, we did about 80 students, and then it jumped to 110 students the following year, and then this past year, we were able to help 116 students. And it was phenomenal. Every student that came through was so grateful and so appreciative for our help. Some of them were moved to tears, and each one of them stopped and they wrote a handwritten thank you card to their sponsor. And so we put that together in a collage of pictures of the students, and we send that back to the sponsor. And these students, you can tell they are hard workers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're not asking for extravagant gifts. They're not asking for like PS4s or 5s or whatever number we're on now. They're asking for shoes. They're asking for jackets, school supplies, gas cards, grocery gift cards. And we want to help them with that little bit extra that we can.
Yeah. Temusa supports our own community.
Yes.
We're always there to help. And actually, when I go to the dorms around that time, around Christmas time, I see the posters and I see the program.
Awesome.
Every time. But just to help spread the program even more, tell us who is eligible.
Any student is eligible as long as they are taking a course during the fall semester. They have to be an active student. So regardless of your enrollment status, your registration status, of what program you're in, it does not matter. You could be a transfer student, undergraduate, or graduate. You could be 70 years old, and if you're a freshman, go ahead and sign on up. It does not matter. We are open to all students of Texas A&M San Antonio.
That's wonderful. Thanks. Y'all heard it.
Yes. And so if you would like to, let me give a little plug. If you would like to help us during the holiday season, look for our information to come posted, and you will see the Family Association Student Angel Program.
Thank you. So you were also nominated for the Jag Women Rock Award under the category of Dr. Cynthia Teniente Matson.
Yes, so that was a phenomenal award. I remember coming to the ceremony, and it was full of these amazing women and such accomplishments. I was intimidated. These women were very strong in their fields. They were very giving, and just being a part of that was really great. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, you're amazing and strong too.
Thanks. I try.
So you actually received the Spirit of the Jaguar Award in 2022.
Yes, I did. I was nominated for that award for the work that I had been doing with the Family Association as an alumni. It was a great event that was put on by Mary Kay, and there was a nice sit-down dinner, and we got to thank our family and friends in a speech, and that was really special moment for me, for them to see me and the work that I had done and paid off, and that what they were doing with me was making a difference in people's lives. And so that was a moment I would always hold true to my heart.
Yeah. So can you tell me about where you're working now?
Yes, so I am currently working at HEB. I work in the finance and accounting department in manufacturing and accounting. And so I help support HEB's 14 self-manufacturing plants. And so that is where they make their own brand products, some like the fajitas, brisket queso, the poppers, cookies, breads, tortillas. I help support the plants that make those products. So as you know, HEB does a lot for the community. They help every time there is a natural disaster, you will find them there. Even not just inside of Texas, they have even sent relief to Hawaii when they had those major fires. They've sent help to Florida when they had the hurricanes. So they're not just helping Texans, they're helping everybody. And they have a saying that they are a people company, because they like to help people, and that is their goal and their motto. They're a people company that just happens to sell groceries. And one of the programs that they have is called Operation Appreciation. And so every December, they get volunteers together. This past December, I volunteered and I helped make almost 1,000 care packages for our military members overseas. So anybody can sign up to have their military member receive one of these packages on their website. And it was a really fulfilling sense of duty to do that. It felt really good to do that. And having a son who is a corporal in the U.S. Marines, that meant a lot to me.
Yeah, I know HEB is a very good family focused brand. You can see it in their advertisements and even their the products they release. The branding is very family focused. You can tell. I love analyzing that just because I like marketing.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. But moving on. Do you have any advice for current students?
Yes, I do. One of my first pieces of advice would be to not give up. There are going to be some hard days, and there's going to be some hard nights, and there's going to be fun times. But it's important to keep going, not to give up on yourself, not to give up on your future and your dreams. It's up to you to fulfill your dreams and your future and to take the path that is meant for you. And to do that, you have to take a step forward. And so every day, you need to take a step forward towards your goals, even if it's a small step, a half a step, a quarter of a step. A step is still a step towards your future.
Yeah.
My other piece of advice would be to communicate to your professor. They are humans too. So if it's not uncommon to need help on a subject, if you're struggling on a concept, chances are somebody else is also. So reaching out to them and asking them to take the next 5 minutes in class just to go over it, or maybe he can just provide some one-on-one support too. That is helpful too. My next piece of advice would be to make friends in your classes. So if you cannot attend classes, you are comfortable approaching other people and asking them for their notes. So there's really no substitute for in-class instruction. It's not just all in the book. So making friends with those classmates that you see and get to know, that'll really help you.
Yeah, the two things you just said, the having a friend and reaching out to your professors, those are steps.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah,
Yes.
Going to office hours, it really helps. Do you have any shout outs you'd like to give?
First and foremost, I always want to give thanks to God for my past, my present, and my future. Without Him, wouldn't be where I am. I'd also like to thank my mom. She has always been a hard worker. She was actually a migrant farm worker growing up and into her teen years. So she has always instilled a sense of hard work in us. And then also, I really think that my mother passed down her spirit of giving to me that I've carried on all these years. When I was a teenager, my mom worked at a daycare. And one time, a mother of a child that had called and asked her for a copy of her recipe for the cheesy chicken and rice that she made for daycare. And this child had to be out for several months to take some treatments to get better. And the mom explained that they were having trouble getting her son to eat. But the one thing that he kept requesting was her cheesy chicken and rice. So that weekend, I helped my mom load up 3 batches of this cheesy chicken and rice into the car, and we drove down country roads in Wilson County I had never been to. I asked if we were lost at one point because I felt like we were going nowhere, but she assured me we were not, and we finally arrived at the house, and my mom got down, and she unloaded the trunk and handed the mother the recipe to the cheesy chicken and rice, and she had prepared a frozen batch of this, a ready-to-bake batch, and then a hot batch for them. And I remember seeing the look of gratitude and appreciation on that mom's face. And so I think that was really moments that stuck with me for all these years.
Yeah, I think moments like those are what shape us who we end up becoming.
Yep, definitely. And then I'd shout out to my husband, Greg. So he has always been my biggest supporter. He's a part of my fan club. He has always pushed me to, keep going and be supportive of my education. He has even joked a few times that he felt like he should get an honorary degree from here because of how much he helped me study.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah. That is no joke. When you graduate here, you graduate an entire family.
Yes.
So, yes, I agree with him. My kids, Bella, Aiden, and Andres, they are the world to me. Everything I've ever done was for the 3 of them. I hope that I have demonstrated resilience and not giving up to get to your goals. My siblings, especially my sisters, Christy and Selena. They have been my biggest supporters for a really long time. Every time we have a project or a fundraiser coming up, they're the first to ask what they can do and how they can help. I also have some really close friends, Jennifer and Audrey and Adriana. I have been friends with these ladies for decades. I won't say how many, but I have known these girls forever, and they have definitely helped shape who I am. Even their families, the Guevaras and the Lopeses and Miss De Leon, they've all been so wonderful, and they've always helped. They've even helped sponsor a few students in our Student Angel program. And then also, I have a couple more friends that help me. You don't get to, where you're at in life without having an army supporting you. And so, yeah, I have a lot of people, Jenny and Mariah, who've always been my rocks. And Tina and Rita and Lindsay, I met these ladies at my previous job. And, when you meet somebody, you're going to be friends with them for life. Mm-hmm. It's just going to... I don't know how I could not be friends with them, but they have always supported me. They've prayed for me. They've guided me, and I appreciate them. And then my Flores family for accepting me and loving me and supporting me and my children. They are awesome. And then also my HEB family, Logan and Nick, they have been phenomenal in helping me learn. Their spirit and their drive for HEB has been what a good leader is. They have the work ethic, and they prioritize their partners. And I'm really, really grateful to be on their team. And when you're at HEB, you're not just on one team, you're on many teams. And so all the teams that I've been on, I've learned from and I've grown from professionally. I love the challenge that I get every day, and it's been great, really great working there. And I plan to retire from there.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear you have that much support with you. You mentioned your bosses, and actually, I love Dr. Cooper. She's great. Yes. She's great at supporting. She's always supported me. Since the first day I started here, she actually believed in me. And I actually wouldn't be doing this without her support. So I'm really glad to have her.
She's pretty great. She has the ability to see things in people and help foster that.
Yeah, she does. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This has been a great time.
Yes.
We had a really great time.